Then I also remember the time where I was coming back from work. You had told me to buy chicken and stuff for you. Chicken,
That was such a shock for him because he didn't
and
see
all of
that
those other
coming.
things.
I'm sure you
Then,
didn't see it coming.
and I think we were still living around Costain at the time. So I was descending the Echo Bridge down to Costain, and my wife calls me. Alpha, you know what? Don't worry about it. I said, okay, maybe she doesn't want it anymore. Then I got home. Where's the chicken? What chicken? I thought you said I shouldn't worry.
Hi
Hello,
everyone, you are welcome to another episode of the Happily Ever After Married podcast with Tommy and Kaka. And we're super excited that you made it through again.
Exactly.
To another heartwarming, beautiful, exciting, conversational topic today. Like, we can't wait to get them in, right?
But don't get them in yet. So if you've been watching and you've not been liking and subscribing to our videos, now is the time. So drop your popcorn for a second and just click.
Why do you think they're eating popcorn? Drop your eban.
They've been enjoying now. Should we've been getting feedback.
Okay, well, yes, but some people eat eban or has to be
because you like swallow doesn't mean the word like swallow. Okay.
But really, guys, you heard my husband. Like, you guys should like it because they'll be telling us that you just watch and enjoy, but you don't like. And remember that when you like, it helps, push our videos forward to more people. So please don't just watch. Please like, get more people to know about our video, about this podcast. And of course, subscribe, my love. Tell them.
So what are we talking about today?
Can
you guess? Let's give them 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So today we'll be talking about some of the culture shocks that we experience
in marriage,
in this journey called marriage. My love, shocked me. I think I should start with my experience, right? Okay. So when we got married, or before we got married, I think before we got married, news had it that, yes, I mean, when you dance at your wedding, they're going to spray you plenty money, you're going to cash out, you are gonna be a millionaire, right? And I mean, I had siblings, my friends, and a whole lot of people had gotten married. And then when I asked one of my friends, she's like, after her wedding, she made about 600 and something thousand. I said, just for dancing, me, I can dance now. I know how to dance. Number one shock when we finished dancing. In fact, I think that during the time that they told us to come and dance, just very few people, me that I can dance. Well, Shino Peters a joke told me, and we started dancing, and then just very few people came out to dance. So I'm like, okay, maybe because they just finished eating, they're still coming. Sister, brother, we waited. My husband was dancing, even me, Ukumole and Rababa. I mean, they just that was number one culture shock. Very few people came out. With the number of crowd that came to the wedding, very few people came out and sprayed us money. Well, I just said, okay, if they don't spray us, so maybe they'll give us envelope
or
checks. Or checks. Well, my younger sister had the bag of money, and then by the time she carried the bag and she gave it to us, take. I said, okay, I felt. I just thought, okay, white nylon. Maybe the money they put in there is like 1,000 or 500. Then we get, I think, okay, so on our way to the hotel, someone gave us an envelope. So in my heart, I'm like, this envelope, maybe it's checked because it wasn't very heavy, but then it was like envelope, and you just feel like, do you get? Yeah. So in my mind, I just had plenty things. Then we get into our hotel room to change and then just settle in, and we opened the envelope. My brother, you want to continue?
The money was not. It was, God had to make a point.
Yes.
But I also say that you should be careful what you wish for. So we had written something by the inspiration of my wife on our invitation card that the weather will be wet. It's going to be cold outside and dry inside or something.
And it actually rained.
It rained.
It rained, yes.
So maybe people that are supposed to spray us did not come because of the rain.
You
get?
Wow.
So be careful what you wish for.
But
so
anyways,
that was our first culture shock.
If I had to learn anything from that, I think that, for me, it was God telling us that I'm going to make a name for myself through my name. not through the people who would give you money.
Yes.
You know that scripture where Abraham said that lest, any man will say that they made me rich.
Exactly.
True. That was the encouraging word for us in that season. We just took it because when we got back, even from the hotel, thank God for the money that our uncle gave us.
Thank God.
But I mean, that was our first culture shock. We thought we were going to make money after Rababai and Komole and all that, but alas.
Okay, so my own culture shock. I think that was our first day as a married couple when we got home to our home, and my wife went into the kitchen, wifely duty, to cook. I didn't even remember the soup, but she made a nice pot of soup and she served me. I'm now a husband. My title has changed. God has done it. And she brought the food, and I was overwhelmed because of the amount of meat my wife puts in the food.
I don't know why my husband is this.
I have
still
to
a
say
shock because you still said it in one of our episodes about how you felt.
But is it your shock? Is it your shock? It's my shock.
What is meat?
Over time, I had learned to abase and to abound. So I don't believe in cook. I mean, you can spend 30K on a pot of soup and finish it in 2 days. Come on.
Not literally, but I mean, I needed to serve him like a king now.
King.
And so I
but
just
not
gave
a
him
lion
everything.
king.
Okay, that's my husband's
My
shock.
belly is not my God. My belly is not my God.
That one entered, child.
Okay, so give us another call.
I think another shock for me was the night of our wedding. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a very terrible food poisoning. So I thought that the night of our wedding, from everything that we've heard, or and how I know my sisters, in fact, my sister the next day is already saying how far. But the night of my wedding was not really great. I thought it was just going to be beautiful, but the shock was I entered and I had terrible food poisoning from something I probably ate during our wedding. And guys, I was stooling, I was throwing up. I was just so sick the night of our wedding in the hotel. I couldn't do nada. In fact, I think we tried.
I was frustrated.
We tried. And after a while, maybe
I was
when my man of God is trying to enter into the holies of holies, I'm like, sir, I think I want to throw up, or I think I want to stool. And then after that, we're just like, so I think that was a shock for me. I didn't think that I was going to be sick on the night of my wedding. I didn't think that I would be tired and uninterested. And, I mean, it's not a moment I even want to relive.
My side of the story. It was not a good experience because from our wedding celebration and everything, I'd already checked out. I was not a part of that event anymore because of the glorious affair.
Yes,
that was going to happen later at night, and I checked out mentally. But it was my brother that encouraged me that I mean, this is once in a lifetime, so give our parents what they want, dance, be present, and all of that. But I wasn't interested.
But Son of Man got into the hotel and
I got there and what is going on? I saw my wife on the floor in pains. She was in pains.
Yes.
So I said, what is going on? So I said, okay, from experience, I learned that when you take palm oil or something, it's going to nullify.
Palm oil, correct.
My wife couldn't drink palm oil.
Nah.
Then I now called Dr. B of blessed memory, and I told him, I told my wife to take palm oil. She wouldn't take. He just said, what is even wrong with you? Why would you want her to drink palm oil? Why are you like this? And he told us what to do, what to take, and all of that. And thank God, she got better. Even the next day, I think we went to church.
I was actually still really sick.
Exactly.
Like for the whole week, for the first week in marriage, it's safe to say the shock for me was that I felt ill.
Yeah.
Because I was running temperature, I was really tired, and imagine after you have taken away all the weight that easily besets your stomach.
That was another culture shock. So from my own point of view, which other culture
Okay, so I know that one culture shock that I had for me was when we got married. I think that the next day, the next day, even when I wasn't feeling very great, after we had gotten home, I think the next day or that night, I carried my bag, just one handy bag, and said I was going home. And Son of Man is like, going home to where?
Are you joking?
Going home. And he says, but we're married. So I'm like, oh, we're married. We're not going home. I'll be okay. I'm going back. So it really hadn't sunk that we were married.
She still thought we were dating because typically
back home.
by 7, 8, you say, oh, all right, come and walk me or whatever. My cab is here, and that was it. I just saw my wife. She just picked her bag. I said, okay, I'm going. Going to where? This is forever. You're not going anywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which one for me?
I think you were shocked one time when I was dressing.
Oh, okay. No, you were the one shocked now.
You were the one. I was the one covering my body.
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, after waiting all this while to get married, then you're now married, then she's now covering her body. Ogbeni, pull it up.
Channels of my spirit. Open up.
Open up. I don't care. But I mean,
I was really shy. I mean, I think for like two months.
2 months.
About a month or two. For every time I wanted to dress, I'm like, please, can you just shut the door? Let me just, dress up. And then if peradventure he walks in, maybe I didn't know he was around or something, and then he walks in and maybe I have one, I'm just like, just hold on. Like, it was just tough for me to like, why do you have to see my naked body, and stuff. But I mean, marriage is you're naked and unashamed. Exactly. And 10 years after,
look at that.
What's that?
I've been running around.
Wake up.
But I mean, I think one thing that helped that phase was the conscious effort to bath together. Yes.
Yeah, so, that really helped us, So even when I was shy, I had my moments of being shy. But I think after we now started bathing together,
yes, it helped.
Yes, it helps. And even if sometimes our children still ask them for mommy and daddy, mommy and daddy are going, I mean,
then another one is culture shock. I mean, daddy and mommy used to eat together, right? Then I started eating with my lovely wife. So she would serve our food together. And we'll just be eating. You think,
now,
I have to cast you. I have to do this. I have to do this. So maybe she served the food with maybe 8 pieces of beef or whatever. And, pomo and all of those things. Definitely, when you see 8 pieces of meat or whatever in your plate, you expect to have four, right? 2 minutes into our food, 4 pieces of meat gone. What is going on here? Madam, why are you behaving like this? So, I mean, we were trained that you shouldn't eat meat until you're done eating your food. So, you eat the rice to the last grain before you now eat.
But baby girl was trained to eat
as a mark of victory.
Oh no, but please, emphasis on baby girl was trained to eat rice and 1 piece of meat.
2 bays, one beef. So I wasn't having it. Then what happened was I had only 2 pieces. And I was about to have the third one, and she still was looking at me like, please, can I have meat? I said, hey, you this woman, get thee behind me. So after a few experiences like that, we decided not to eat from the same plate till date.
But once in a while we still eat. But I think like the first few months, it's not supposed to be a shock now. That's what lovers do.
It shocked me.
Anyways, and then the shock for me was the fact that I just thought my husband was taking too long eating food. Like we're eating a bar. Eat it. What's that scripture that talks about, not just relish, but we must redeem the times. For the days are evil. So I'm like, son of man, let's redeem the time.
But you were redeeming the meat. Not the food.
But I will try to eat it. I'll help him. So that shocked him. And then I think after I have 2 or 3 months, he's like, babe, don't dish our food together again. Dish your food separately and dish mine separately.
And I've been enjoying my life, when I'm eating.
But you still love it
at my pace.
But you still love it when I ask you to share your food with me, don't you?
Once in a while.
Yes, once in a while. And then he still looks at me and like, babe, have you not finished tasting? Bring the food back. But I think another shock for me was the fact that when we got married, that period, people were giving us gifts, and then all this monetary gifts and stuff, we're using it to sort some of our own personal stuff towards the wedding. And after the wedding had happened, has finished, we still thought that they should still be giving us cash gifts at least weeks.
They're not babes anymore.
But guess what? Because our mommies and our daddies, everybody's just like,
good luck.
We have escorted you to where there's no fear. Good luck with this journey called marriage.
So if you're about to get married, don't spend all your money doing wedding.
Yes, please.
Save.
It's very important. And I think we're in times where, everybody's finding a way to be more conservative, and stuff. So if there's anything that I learned from my, wedding, will be that, I wish we kept some more money, and I wish we still stood our grounds and said, yes, we want a family wedding, but we'll rather have it
this way.
this
But
way.
could that have happened? No.
Dear Nigerian moms and dads.
It couldn't have worked. Another culture shock was in marriage was the fact that, if a woman tells you, oh, I'm not interested or I'm not eating, then don't believe it. Don't believe it. This still happened yesterday evening. I came back, I made plantain and eggs, and I asked my wife,
do you want?
I'm about to make plantain and
I'm
eggs.
trying to watch
Do
my
you want?
way.
Oh no, I don't want. I just feel something in my stomach. I don't want. I'm just good. Do you want?
I didn't think it was going to make it look that good. I just thought it was going to fry basic plantain. Why did you? No, my love, you should have told me. You should have sold it to me. You didn't sell it to me. You just told me, do you want? Come on, that's too basic. Now you're supposed to say, my love, I'm about to make one of the best and most righteous plantains in the world. Do you want to have some? Okay. Then he now finished frying the plantain, then fried the egg, and the egg was very eggy. And all I did was just taste. I just shared.
She didn't taste. When I got to where I was going to eat, I think I went to make a phone call and I saw my wife just balancing with my food as if it's hers. But I asked you, this woman, you want more biryani? I asked you. You said,
remember, what is yours is mine.
Now you won. Then I also remember the time where I was coming back from work. You had told me to buy chicken and stuff for you. Chicken.
That was such a shock for him because he didn't see that coming. I'm sure you didn't see it coming.
And I think we were still living around Costain at the time. So I was descending the Echo Bridge down to Costain, and my wife calls me, Alpha, you know what? Don't worry about it. I said, okay, maybe she doesn't want it anymore. Then I got home. Where's the chicken? What chicken? I thought you said I shouldn't worry. What chicken? You shouldn't have blah blah blah. You should have bought it. You shouldn't have this. You should have done. Like I was really, dumbfounded. So I took a learning from there that, when a woman says, I don't want.
His emphasis when your wife.
When my darling Nne says she doesn't want something, after like 2 minutes, call.
Again, I say, are you sure?
Are you sure?
I think another shock for my husband would be when I asked him to help me. I think when I asked him to help me buy either Momo or Ugo on his way. Right.
And I'll roll my eyes.
And be like, are you joking? Like, so dear husband, please. When you get married, there are these moments where your wife just sends you on weird errands, like buy me sanitary towel, buy me diapers. Could you
Supermarket
please help us buy bread?
I'm a pro.
And all that. But I think the main shock for me was when I tell my husband to buy us just one loaf of bread. The shock I always get is he doesn't just buy one. He goes ahead to buy 3. I only wanted 1. That's always a shock for me. If I tell him, buy biscuits, buy crate of egg, sometimes I want the crate of egg from the market, not from the supermarket, because I feel like, you
they both have markets.
No, but when I say, please buy from this place, the shock I used to get from, I think that was such a shock for me because when I'm like, babe, buy just 1 biscuit, then my husband goes and buys the whole shop.
Do you know why?
Tell
Thinking about it. I'm trying to redeem the time. Because if I don't buy 3 loaves now, we'll finish 1 loaf in 2 days. Then you now see as you're coming back from work.
But the shock what was always a shock for me was the fact that sometimes, especially when I know what we have in the purse, I don't want you to exceed the budget I have in my head. But my dear Sinzu, my dear cash money husband will say, money is not the problem.
Let's buy
it.
I'm talking about money. I remembered, maybe 2 years into marriage, my way back from work every Friday, when people say happy weekend, right? I would typically...
Babe, you really want to say that?
I'll just withdraw, some cash so that we can, use it for running the home over the weekend. Then I'll leave it. I know, funny enough, I used to find it very, very attractive when she spends the money. I'll just tell my wife. Funny enough, I think I told you one time, I like the way you spend my money.
And so he gave me some form of validation, a sense of approval that
little did I know. Because after that period, you withdraw some good amount of cash. Then the next day, and you will go there and you see that it has dropped. Maybe it will be you will see like 500 or 1.5.
But please, what was I using it for? Is it not for the house?
It's for running the house. Funny enough, she wasn't spending it on any frivolous thing or anything. But I mean, it was just.
I just knew the money was there, so I think that was a shock for my husband. And then after a while, he just said, so when he comes up Fridays and like how far, it's just like
the money is there.
The money is there, but I now figured out that the Son of Man had split the money into 3. He not even half into 3, and then put one. So some part of me, the moment I see the money, then I'm like,
there's more.
No, even before, the shock for me was the day I found out that there was more. But it was the one for me was the one that I'm like, so this is all he withdrew, and let me not touch it. Just be a very dutiful wife. Just split the money and just use it judiciously.
And God revealed.
And then the time that was a shock for me when I found out that Son of Man split the money into 3 different areas. But I mean, to the glory of God, we've all grown in different parts, and I mean, you just understand what to do with money and what not to do. We've learned to also make do with what we have per time and per season. So there's no. Is that still flexing? Well, we'll come to that conversation at some point. But the essence of us sharing all of these culture shocks is for anyone who is listening, who is also about to get married. I mean, you experience these culture shocks, but the joy of it is that, it shouldn't shock you to a point of offense.
Yeah.
It shouldn't shock you to a point of, you did this, you told a lie. It should just shock you it should shock you into newness.
Exactly.
And shock you into, okay, all right, okay, this is what we can do better. Make light of it. Yeah. And just do better, and most especially give one another that room to grow, and know that, okay, this person will get better. There was a season where he was always reading, and then the shock for me, even after 5-6 years, he would just come and say, oh yeah, come and read this book. And I'm like, sir, I don't want to read book. Book is not, what is. But, after a while, he became a lot more patient, and I mean, here we are, doing this reading thing together, wanting to do better and, help ourselves, even more. I think another major shock for me will be prayer. Hey, babe, we're not going to end this episode with this without saying this one. Prayer was a shock because guess what? While we were dating, I mean, we didn't exactly have all the time we had moments where we prayed. For all the times that we were dating, we always prayed. I wasn't living too far. Love brought me. He was living in Costain at the time, he and his brother, and then I was living at Ogba, and then at different times I was like, what kind of distance relationship is this? So
and she found a way.
So I decided to move, closer, and then I was staying with my brother and my grandma, and so I stayed around very close to him. So in the mornings before he goes to work, we found a way to just meet, pray, and then we'll just hold hands, pray, and then I will go back home, and then maybe in some.
And we used to fast every week.
Yes, we used to fast every week while we were dating as well. So in the evenings, we'll just, anytime we had time in the evenings, we'd also pray together. But then it was just, Father, thank you, hold hands, short prayers. But this is it. We have gotten married. And I'm like, okay, we're going to be, more intense, filled with fire and stuff. But then bear in mind that I think one shock for me while we're dating was I just thought Tommy was too chilled with his prayer life. Like, Father, thank you kind of guy. It wasn't for me, now. As in, I've said it before.
Break every chain.
Heritage.
Break.
It was, and how I was raised and what I saw. So it's like, you are dealing with, and then I'm a loud prayer person. I've said that for those who haven't seen that episode, you should go and watch it.
Exactly.
So a shocker for me was when we got married, and would I say, was it a shock? But then prayer was just, when I want to pray loud, my husband wants to pray gently. And I just felt like, if you're praying gently, God is not going to hear. You have to pray really loudly, and stuff. So a bit of the shock was I thought that when we got married, his style and his style of prayer was going to change. But alas, that is who he is. He's who he is. With that, it's not like he's so chilled, but he's fervent, fierce, but he doesn't shout. He's not a loud prayer person. Yeah. So I think that was a shock for me. Like,
most of us, we have our image of what things should be.
Right.
So I think you came in with, a pastoral kind of anointing.
And the pastoral is fire pastoral.
Punch the devil in the nose and all of that. Well,
and my Baba Jeje, my man with few words but carries power.
That's to get
with
results.
powerful results to just come and make a decree. But I'm happy that we've grown through the years. There's really there's a place of agreements, because I won't lie to you, we had it the first few years into marriage. It was tough getting into a place of agreement. Even in prayer, even in I had my own opinions. I had my idea of what prayer should look like.
Absolutely.
And I mean, here we are today, few years into, I'll call it few years, yes, 10 years into marriage. And, we're gaining mastery of what it means to stand in agreement, to pray with one another, what it means to hold hands together and see that, we can chase one will chase 1,000 and two shall put 10,000 to flight. Praise God.
Another shocker for me was when we got pregnant. And I think towards the tail end of our pregnancy, I just didn't want to, have sex or anything, because the stomach was so big. I felt maybe I would be hitting the baby's head or something. So I just said, you know what? I don't want.
Away from me.
Then we read articles. I mean, I think we went for antenatal one time, and they encouraged that we should do it more often. And I said, wow, the prayer answering God. See how you do things, So that was a shocker for me. But I felt, I didn't know. If you don't know, you don't know. So
actually,
I didn't know. I was quite naive in
but
that
backtracking to that part of pregnancy, my own shocker for me was the fact that I was pregnant and I couldn't lie on my stomach. I think we're going to come to that pregnancy talk at some point. But the fact that the first weeks of pregnancy and I could not lie. In fact, the day I knew I was pregnant, the next day I thought I had killed my child. When I woke up, lying down on my stomach, I'm just like, hey, I have killed this child. I didn't, so that was really a shocker that, I didn't think that I could lie down for the first 3 months or 2 months. I felt that, I was already hurting the baby, and stuff. So, but I think that was really good. I'd also say another shocker, would you call it culture shock? But maybe culture shock for me was with what happened in my body when we just got pregnant. But I think that conversation is like a whole conversation. When I just got pregnant, I won't lie to you, I could not speak to my husband at some point during pregnancy. I was writing letters to him. We shall come to that one day.
Come to that at some point.
But I hope that you found so much with this episode. And we just thought to share some of these culture shocks with you and to let you know that, in marriage, it keeps getting better. You just have to really give your marriage a fair chance to succeed. Even when you experience these shockers, it's important for you to talk through it. I had my own shockers with in-laws. He had his with in-laws. And anytime we experienced an in-law shock or in-law drama, I'm like, Elusa, please, let's talk about it, and talk through it. And I would also say that even when we had to wait, it was a shocker for a few members of his own family and like wondering what's going on, and stuff. But it's important that you talk through those, would I call not just shockers, but the differences that would just happen in marriage and make you wonder or make people want to ask questions. But I was really excited that he was able to reassure his mom that, there wasn't an issue. We just chose to wait and stuff, as against if he wasn't saying anything and then everybody begins to look at me like maybe you're the person that has...
And culturally, it's always a woman.
Exactly, culturally.
Which is not correct most of the time.
So that part is, it feels like it's a conversation. That at some point. Yes, so we'll come to that about waiting and childbirth,
Absolutely.
And pregnancy. I know that you want to hear that gist, and it's a wholesome one.
But there's one more thing I would like to say. Patience is a key, element, especially with culture shocks. What's culture shock? Both of you are from different backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And you now come together. It's like she's invading your space and vice versa. Like the things you wouldn't do or your mom wouldn't do or your sisters wouldn't do, then she's doing it. Then you might think she's disrespectful. You might think she doesn't care. You might think, different things. So patience is very key. I was a very clingy person before we got into marriage.
How did we not say, oh, please, this episode is not over. Yes, please, continue. How did we miss that?
Very clingy, I would press arms
and I shocked my husband. Oh, God.
Like, I wanted to cuddle and just, feel the cool of her body.
Touch.
And my wife would just say, like,
please, stay by yourself, as in.
Free me. It was tough for me, but after a while, I died to self. I started clearing the urge, because the question is this. The question I always ask myself, if a third party hears why we are not happy with each other or why we are
Would it be
having
that because
friction, would
you're
it be
not clean?
because I wanted to press hand or leg and she didn't let me press hand or leg?
Babe, but on different occasions too, I was a bit considerate. It wasn't convenient. Like, why are you touching? I'm not, but in some cases, I'll just be like, oh yeah, just touch small, just small.
But I had to understand that, see, putting myself in a position, sometimes it's not always comfortable. Do you get? As you are giving people, can you also take it? So I started thinking about it that way. Then after a while, the desire to press hand and leg and everywhere, it started dropping a bit. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, but I mean, I outgrew some things.
And I think the major shock is that both our children are just like their father. Like, God is like, see, I'm not done with you yet, girl. If you don't want your husband to teach you, if you don't want to learn how to avail thyself to thy husband in terms of, touching and finding comfort, then your children, like both our children, are just like their dad, all touchy. They even do it to him sometimes now. And then it's like, leave me now, leave
because
me.
I've learned to let go. Do you understand?
So another major shock would be that my husband, I wonder how we're going to forget this, was when few days after we got married, when we wake up in the morning, my husband wants to plant a peck on my lips, and I'm like, hello, no, I haven't brushed my mouth, and I have spit in my mouth. So I have to go and spit first. I have to brush my mouth first before I kiss you. I think that was such a shock for you, right? And even 10 years after, to be honest, I still have moments where I'm like, yeah, we still kiss. I'm just like, hold on. I don't want to talk to you with dirty mouth now, and I don't want you to just kiss me with dirty mouth, But I mean, we've outgrown this. We've learned to, we've learned to accommodate each other, accommodate all those excesses, and and just love ourselves for who we are, not use it to judge ourselves. So now that I still wake up sometimes 10 years after, and I still brush. And there are days where I just wake up and I'm like, mwah, and it's like, hey, oh, God. It's
today's
like
Christmas. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the link with other of your friends so they can be a party or a partaker of these yum goodies.
Yes, absolutely. It's very, very important for us, or it's very important to us that you not just subscribe, but you like our video, you share this video, because the more you like it, the more it's the more YouTube pushes it to other viewers and gets them to see more about Happily Ever After podcast. So please remember to do all of that, and as we always say, follow us as we follow Christ. Because Jesus is the ultimate reason why we're able to share the joys of married life with every one of you here. So thank you for watching this episode. We look forward to seeing you again in our next episode. Again, like my husband, like and subscribe. Till we see you again next time, it's the Happily Ever After Married podcast with Tommy and Kaka. Bye.